What it do, y'all? Is Coffee tapping back in, man, and there's a whole lot of developments going on in the prison shanking of Tory Lanez, man. Wild story, wild situation, a lot of drama going on behind it as well. Content creators getting into it over what exactly went down in the prison politics and all kinds of ish. Now off top, when the shanking immediately happened, right, there was people like, yo, is this cap? Is this real? Of course it's real, right? I don't know why people were thinking that so much. And it was crazy to me to see so many people celebrating it. Like, that was bonkers to me. I did not know Tory Lanez was hated in that way. And we also got major updates in regards to his case. That was another thing. I seen some people like, yo, Tory Lanez's appeal is about to get serious, and then this happens, and then these newer developments in regards to all that, man, it's real crazy to me, you know what I mean?
Once again, I gotta hit you guys with some crazy information. So I did a little digging, and this is about Tory Lanez. This is the person that stabbed him in Tehachapi State Prison, and I'll tell you guys why. Now, the video I did before was just saying that there was a false narrative going on about a Mexican trying to extort him and make him pay taxes, and everybody ran with that theory. I said, no, it was personal. Now, if a Mexican was to do it, it was, yada, yada, yada. But the reason this took place is this dude was a nice guy, respectful inmate, got into a lot of trouble, though. He stabbed a couple inmates in prison. He's doing life without the possibility of parole for 2 murders. And he was in education. He was working in the educational department, respectful, but he happened to be Tory Lanez's neighbor. And at visit, he was flirtatious with his wife. And his wife immediately told her husband. And they went back, got confrontational, and Tory Lanez was on the tier saying that he was gonna F his wife because she likes black dudes. That's what really happened. And I had to go do some digging. People kept asking me to go look it up, and I made contact with Tehachapi State Prison to finally get the story down, because a lot of people kept saying it was black on black, that he tried to get a black DP'd and all that, and he was paying other people for protection to have other people hit and trying to be the shot caller on the yard. Then I heard Mexicans did it, and I was like, all right, now let me just get to the bottom of it, since everybody's throwing like 202 stories about it. But that is the information. That is what happened. He was being disrespectful towards his neighbor's wife at visit. So I wake up today, right? I'm about to get ready for work. My face swollen, face hurts from getting it lasered off. But so look, man, just giving you guys a heads up, I'm gonna be attacked by everybody just because I decided to reach out when I didn't want to reach out, but I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't racially motivated like everybody's talking about. So they report my Instagram. I don't know who it was. Instagram doesn't tell you. And then I read a couple of my DMs that made no sense, but I'm not going to put them on blast. Everything's personal. But I feel like people wanted me to go with the narrative that, this dude was an ex-Southerner, which Southerners are racially motivated, and that's why he blasted Tory Lanez. And I'm like, no, I doubt that. I doubt that. And so when I looked into it and I told my version, that's when I got attacked. But when I told the regular version, everybody supported me. When I told the truth, I got attacked and I got reported, and now they're in my DMs calling me this, calling me that, and I'm like, do what y'all want, bro. Like, I really don't care, but much love. Have a good morning.
All right, man. So I'm not really familiar with this dude like that. 59J, tap in if you fuck with him, if you're up on his content, you mess with him or whatever, and what you think about what he's saying here. Talking about that Tory Lanez was try to press up on dude's wife. It was like, yo, I'm gonna pipe down your wife, and some of the other stuff he was talking about, that there were these other narratives being thrown around that like Tory was trying to be the main shot caller on the yard. That's kind of crazy to me, right? Like, that doesn't even make any sense, that one. But off top, the first person that made a video that I really seen get in motion, of course, was 1090 Jake. And his theory was debunked quick, right? He said it had to be a black inmate that shanked Tory because of the way the Cali prison politics are, that it couldn't be someone from outside of his race, which we see most definitely is wrong. The media outlets all are picking up on who dude is that shanked him, and he's a foul individual for sure. A straight up PD0 wicked demon, right? But then we saw a Spider Loc get an interview with someone from behind the wall that was saying it was a Mexican inmate, and you know, there was more stuff that had to be revealed. And then we see Wack 100 taking issue with what this dude says. And you've seen his other clips where he was saying people are reporting his videos, and you know, when he went one way with the story, everyone was cool. Now people are coming at him and all this because he's saying he's telling the truth. And Wack 100 says, this is a lie. First off, the guy has 25 to life with the possibility. He got caught with a knife and other stabbing, which he got additional 8 years. And he's not a guy with life without. Link to this is in my story now, and Tory was not on a visit, so that debunks that. And he doesn't talk like that. He would never tell another man his wife likes, you see what it says, right? I ain't even gonna say with that, with the pauses, you know what I'm saying, lingo, right? All cap. You can't even keep a straight face and look into the camera. Don't know who paid you to say these crazy things, and no person would tell you or nobody else these details. You're all cap. Just know this social media platform trumpets are on our side of the tracks. 59J. I've supported your platform willingly, but now I see you have been compromised. I thought you were different. Now I gotta see you for what and who you are. I've just unfollowed. So Wack saying it's all cap, and he says like, yo, who paid you to say this? And I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not saying this is what it is, but like I said, initially I seen a lot of people celebrating Tory Lanez getting shanked, which again, I just didn't know he was hated like that. You know what I mean? Obviously I know the allegations of his case, but it was like a shaky case to say the least. And we're going to get to these other developments, man, that Tory could possibly be coming home. This appeal could go through. And that's what I was going to get to, is then I was following it up talking about how there were people, a few people that were saying, yo, there's stuff going on with Tory Lanez's appeal. And now this happens. And what Wack saying, who's paid you? Like, do y'all think it's a reach, or do you guys think it's realistic that there could be, you know, people trying to pull strings and pay people to create content, or try to pay people to get at someone behind the wall because they don't want to see him home because of an appeal? Like, what do you think about that? Do you think that's too much or what? Because before we get to the follow-up on the dude that shanked Tory, and like I said, how he's a straight pedo, weirdo, wicked demon, we got to get to the news about the appeal.
Not long ago, United People was approached by a gentleman named Bradley James. Mr. James informed us he was working as the bodyguard and driver for Ms. Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. As such, he was in close proximity, and he had privy to conversations she was having with her husband and others. Mr. James informed us he was not under a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement and was free to speak with United People, and that he was doing it because his conscience would not let him not speak and leave a man in prison for something he did not do. Mr. James informed United People that he was a witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had, where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched them, never fired them. This statement aligns with the statement of the only non-party witness to the case. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched them, never fired them. This statement aligns with the statement of the only non-party witness to the case, Mr. Sean Kelly, who at trial testified he saw 2 women fighting, 2 men break up the fight, 1 man grabbed the other one's arm, gunshots came from the passenger side.
So ain't that something, man? Tory Lanez's legal team is saying that Kelsey Bradley's security, who was worried about coming forward because of NDAs and other ish like that, has come forward and said, yo, Kelsey said she's the one that was firing the strap. And you hear them mention Sean Kelly's testimony at the trial. They're saying this corroborates and goes with and is in line with what Sean Kelly, a witness to the whole incident, is saying. And going back over his testimony, right, you see the headlines, right? Tory Lanez trial, witness says one muzzle flash near female, then male was firing everywhere. Quote, it appeared to me when I was on the phone that they were trying to kill her. 911 caller Sean Kelly told jurors at Tory Lanez trial over Megan Thee Stallion shooting. And then you see right here, Tory Lanez was firing everywhere after brawl in Megan Thee Stallion shooting, trial witness testifies. So hearing the headlines, it don't sound good. You hear firing everywhere and trying to kill her. But when you dive into the testimony deeper, those are just the headlines. Listen, right? Tory Lanez's defense team was thrown a curveball in court by a man who says he witnessed the roadside assault against Megan Thee Stallion in 2020. The man testified December 20th that he had seen a violent brawl that first broke out between two women, followed by an angry male alleged to be Lanez, who was firing everywhere. Court sessions opened on Tuesday with Sean Kelly's testimony that he woke up to the sounds of two women violently fighting by a car where they were, quote, were pulling their hair and hitting each other, end quote. He said, describing the interaction as quite violent, as reported Law and Crime's Megan Cuniff. It's worth noting that when my bad, y'all. It's worth noting that when Kelly called 911, he didn't report a shooting. He reported a group beating on a woman. He told the defense that he did not see someone fire a gun, but said he just saw flashes, and again testified that they came from the shorter gentleman, a term he repeatedly used to describe Lanez, whose real name is Daystar Peterson, who appeared to be, quote, very angry, making lots of noise, end quote, but again stated that he, quote, never saw a gun, end quote. A confusing bit of testimonial since, as he continued to say that a woman had fired the first shot. So there you have it. It's like, it's a bit crazy because you hear in the headlines and you hear in the reports and the testimony, right, that he's saying Lanez was firing everywhere, but he didn't see a gun. It's a bit confusing. But then you hear him saying right here that he continued to say that a woman had fired the first shot. Quote, I believe I saw the girl shoot first, he said, but he didn't know she had a gun at the time. I believed it was fireworks. Kelly testified that he never heard anyone say, dance, bitch, which is what Megan Thee Stallion has claimed Peterson said before he opened fire. Kelsey Harris, the third woman in this scenario, and Pete's former friend, Pete is Megan Thee Stallion, had also previously denied that she heard this on the night of the shooting. Kelly said, quote, everyone was fighting, even the driver, end quote, and again claimed that the shorter guy was, quote, was pushing and fighting both girls, then everyone started beating one girl, end quote, and concluded it with his assumption that, quote, it appeared that they were going to throw her in a river. Damn, this situation is crazy, man. This comes after the prosecution tried to add two new witness tampering charges in relation to Lanez allegedly bribing both Megan and Harris with $1 million to stay quiet about the shooting. That motion was denied by the judge on the count that prosecutors had known since September what Harris's testimony would likely be, according to a report by Rolling Stone. So, I don't know, man. Like, what do you guys think about all this? The security guard coming forth saying that Kelsey told him this, right? And then Tory's legal team saying that goes in line with this witness who we just went over their testimony at trial. He talks about a crazy fight. They're trying to throw her in the fucking river. Like the woman fired the shot. But then he says something about the short male, Tory Lanez, was firing everywhere, but he never saw a gun. It's a bit all over the place, man. But it seems to be I mean, it's definitely new evidence, right? Or is the court going to try to say, yo, that's nothing more than hearsay? I don't know. I really think there was just so much about this case that was so shaky from beginning to end. And, you know, I was a bit surprised that Tory Lanez was convicted. But as we know, man, when that trial went down, like Meg's testimony and her crying and the things that she said really, I think, was what, and most of the legal analysts were saying, that's what swayed the jury. You know, that it was kind of a 50-50 type deal until Meg's testimony is what I recall. You know what I mean? But tap in with your thoughts about all that and about this new evidence, and if you think, you know, Tory Lanez could come home on appeal or what. Regardless of it all, what crazy timing though for this shanking to go down. You know what I mean? And again, Wack 100 alleging that this dude is lying, and like that someone must have paid and put him up to it. And when you think about it all, you know, like, never think for a second that this social network-ish don't have power, that people don't try to manipulate narratives and stuff like that online. It plays very big into public opinion. And then we've also seen, like, a lot of content has been played in trials and has been, you know, a part of evidentiary wise. You know what I mean? So it's a whole lot going on. Again, everyone, let me know your thoughts across the board. But as far as this dude who shanked Tory, and again, 14 times, y'all, this individual is a straight wicked demon, pedo, weirdo. And that's a fact, man. He is convicted of bodying a 13-year-old girl that he was fucking with. As you see, this was way back in 2002 in California, all in the news, right? Boyfriend sought in slaying of 13-year-old. The boyfriend of a 13-year-old girl who was found shot to death early Sunday in an apartment the two shared in Lancaster is being sought for her slaying, authorities said Tuesday. Santino Sonny Casio, a 20-year-old parolee, so he was already on parole, 20 years old, fucking with a little girl, 13 years old, and bodied her, man. Allegedly shot Evelyn Brenda Candeas in the head following an argument late Saturday night. Police believe Candeas ran away from home in Palmdale and moved into a duplex apartment in the 1100 block of West Avenue, age 14, with Casio in April. Quote, "We didn't know where she was staying," end quote, said Candeas' cousin, Robert Mendez, 19. Quote, "She would call just to let us know she was all right," end quote. So this is a troubled little girl running away from home, and this sick parolee predator demon is dating her. You know what I mean? It's crazy out here, man. Like, real talk, man. These weirdos out here trying to justify their wickedness. Like, yo, you're a straight demon out here on that pedo-ish, man. Casio was described as 5'9", weighing $190 with a shaved head and brown eyes. He has a tattoo of a paw print on the back of his head and tattooed horns on his front hairline, said Lieutenant Dan Rosenberg. Lieutenant Dan. Remember that, y'all? Forrest Gump. Lieutenant Dan Rosenberg of the Sheriff's Homicide Bureau. He is currently on parole from the California Youth Authority for burglary. So, I don't know, man. Whole lot going on. Dude that stabbed up Tory is a straight offender, a pedo, killed a little 13-year-old girl who was a runaway. So sad, man. Then you got Tory Lanez, the break in the case as far as for his appeal, the security guard coming forward. And then, you know, this whole situation with him getting shanked and Wack 100 and this guy going at it over what exactly happened, where dude is saying it was like a personal thing because dude said Tory allegedly told dude that he was gonna smash his wife, and I don't know, man. Like, this is just crazy. Let me know what you think about it all as well. Like I said, the timing of all this with the new evidence, like, it's absolutely bonkers. Let's discuss it all in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for updates, y'all. It's Coffee and I'm up out here. Peace.